I think that's going to wrap.
Doug Webb was born in Chicago and moved to California at the age of 3. He received his Bachelor of Music from Boston's Berklee College of Music. He began playing clarinet at the age of 8 and added saxophone and flute at 15. He lives in Los Angeles with his wife Alex and his son Ryan. Over his career, Webb has played and recorded with such notable talents as Horace Silver, Freddie Hubbard, Sal Marquez, Stanley Clarke, Quincy Jones, Billy Childs, Rod Stewart, Carly Simon, Art Davis, Kenny Rogers, Bonnie Raitt, Poncho Sanchez, and Vicky Carr. He's played with the house band for the Dennis Miller TV show, the Jimmy Cleveland Orchestra, and continues to tour with the Doc Severinsen Band. He's recorded music for hundreds of movies and television programs. He solos on the soundtrack for Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, and Jersey Boys. Webb has been featured on hundreds of recordings. Steamers Jazz at Campus JAX is proud to present our friend, Doug Webb.
Doug Webb.
Hey, Doug Webb,
The
how are you?
infamous Doug Webb. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Terrence, good to see you. Tony?
You look good.
I know.
You
Wow.
look healthy and happy and all that.
Yeah, I just got back from Mexico.
Go ahead.
My wife and I have a place down in Loreto, which is between Cabo and Ensenada.
Right on.
You didn't get a chance to see that video that was the intro of this, Doug, but it went way back. It was 10 years ago at Steamers, and that was a trip just seeing it now because I didn't even know it was coming on there. Tony's in there, and you, and
it was
Eric, and
it was Joe Bagg, Eric Messerschmidt, and Matt Johnson. And I noticed.
Johnson. Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it as we were waiting to come back on, and I noticed that he faded out right before the trumpet solo. So,
Well, that
Well, there you
it's
go.
a good place. They all know how you play.
so I go, Terrence. I go back a long ways with Doug. I like to tell this story about him because I'll say this, and to your face, Doug, he's one of my favorite musicians around. not only in town, but just there's never a time I'm not happy to be hearing Doug play, and I just am always thrilled that I even get to call him my friend. But I met him at Cafe Lido back in the day, which is like this is about 1986, maybe 87.
I think you're about 15.
I was pretty young, and I wasn't. I know I wasn't allowed to be in there yet, so this would have been maybe actually 1985 that we met. You had just finished playing with Freddie Hubbard, and I had come in, and they invited me to sit in, and then they also invited you, which was about as polar opposite as we should have been. But I remember that they called they called "Take the A Train," and at the time I only knew it in one key, and they called it in a different key. And you said you need to learn every song in all 12 keys.
I did,
and it scared the crap out of me. And although I can tell you that I've never had to play "Take the A Train" in any key but the one I know it in. So, just so you know, other than that one time.
I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the first time you played at Steamers? It must have been mid 90 or like 96, 97.
When did it open?
94.
94.
It was right then. I mean, I believe I heard about a new club, and then a couple weeks later, somebody asked me to play there.
My gosh, that goes way back. And I, Doug, me being a sax player or a wannabe sax player, at one point, I was always fascinated with his first of all, his fervor for the instrument, and just you always got there early, you always set up and had everything ready, and you were just like, I thought you were a sax god. I still think you're kind of a sax god. You know?
Oh, thanks. That's sweet of you to say.
Yeah. It's.
I'll never forget. One time I was playing there with Jennifer Lydham, or John at the time.
John at the time, right?
And me, it was me and Pete Chrisley.
Uh-huh.
And we took a break, and you were on the phone, and Pete and I are standing right next to each other. And you go, man, you got to come by and hear this. Doug is cutting Pete.
Oh no!
And Pete looked at me and said, "Well, you do." I looked at like I was kind of embarrassed because Pete overheard you say that.
Oh my
and
God!
He looked at me, and after that, he's like, "Well, no, he's right, man. You sound great." Pete was really cool about it. It sounded great. The next set, he carved me in little pieces, like you would not believe. Like it was like it was as if it was his last breath. Like to the death.
Those old days at Steamers were crazy because I played sax for probably out of high school for about 8 years or so, playing in different bands and in college and all that stuff. But I just never got to that level to be a pro. So I mean, when I finally opened Steamers, I was just in awe to have people like you there, or Herb Geller or Bud Shank, or all the people that played, and I just remember every time that would come, I was so excited. I'd call all my friends, say, you got to come down and hear this guy.
Doug, what have you been up to? What's been keeping you busy, aside from just coming back from Mexico?
I just did a movie for Stanley Clark, and I did a Hallmark movie, and I did a couple things here and from the house, and I actually got the guy a great sax player just moved in downstairs. I have an apartment down there named Brandon Wilkins. He was from New York, and he was my student like years ago, and he went to Berkeley 4 years in New York for 4 years, and he just came back. He moved here March 1st to break into the LA studio scene. And he wanted to be, and just to check it out. But he's got a home studio, so he just pulls up a little laptop upstairs and records me. So I'm doing a thing for LAD where I'm playing 23 instruments along with a complete sarrusophone, sopranino, sax, and octavin, all these weird woodwinds. And he wrote something just for me to do, like to showcase all these different woodwinds. I'm even going to play a consort of crumb horns and full like 9 sarrusophones. I have them.
Okay, so that's another thing about you, Doug. You already had this amazing reputation as a musician, but now everybody kind of knows you as that crazy sax collector guy. Tell us a little bit.
I'm trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Recently, I agreed to sell a sax to somebody, and I mean, it was like a mint 146,000 Mark VI alto. For $9,000. It's a lot of money for an alto. So the guy comes over, and I start looking for the horn, and he's helping me. And I'm wearing a mask, and anyway, we're looking for this horn. I'm opening every alto case, 6 hours later, we never found it. I said, man, I'm going to have to come back tomorrow. So
You
the
have
next
that
day,
many horns?
Yes.
yeah. The
Tony,
next
he'd
day,
bring
the next
10,
day we
he'd
looked
bring 10
for
to Steamers.
9 hours. I went through every alto case I thought. I never found it. I called Steve. Something must have happened to the horn. Maybe somebody, you know, like I lent it to somebody. I called Steve Rosenblum, a friend of mine who had one about the same vintage, and he sold it to the guy. And then the next day, I put everything back. My wife's out of town, so I got to get everything. I have everything in a room, and it's stacked floor to ceiling, and you can't, to get to the back, you have to take everything out in the front out.
Wow.
Anyway, altogether, it took me like 2 days, about 10 hours. It took me 20 hours to put everything back. This is like sweating. I'm sweating nonstop. So I realized that I found the horn eventually. It was one of the first ones I pulled out, but I changed the case. So it was a case instead of the original black case that I remembered it being in. So I just put it stuck it in the laundry basket, and I'm pulling horns out of the room, checking out every alto case. Anyway, so, I mean, we're talking a lot of hours. I mean, it was 20 hours to put everything back, and plus about, well, you know, whatever, about 16 hours taking everything. That's 36 hours of my day to try to, you know.
And you lost out on the 9,000
on this horn. So I said, that's it. And I'm just in the process of getting rid of a lot of stuff. I mean, I have over 1,000 woodwinds.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
cool.
It's really a problem.
And let me ask this: what was the thing that, you know, like, I understand collecting a few things. I have a few little collections, but what got you to that place of you're buying that many horns? Because obviously you can't play them all, right?
Sure. Of course I can. You know, it's just that it all started when like for the weird instruments, like I did this movie Gran Torino, where I played some ethnic woodwinds, and then I got the special payments check on that. In the one movie, it was ridiculous. I mean, I'll just say it was more than $30,000 for the first year for just this one session for this one movie. And I thought, okay, well, that's it. So I went and made it a mission, and eBay had kind of just started. I made it a mission to buy every ethnic woodwind from every part of the world. I have these curved flutes from Madagascar, and they're no different than anything else. But I mean, I have these instruments from every little portion of the world. They make these Norwegian flutes that are like overtone flutes that just play high overtones. I mean, I bought these Iranian nays that you have to file a place between the feet. I can't even get a sound on them, but I have a full set of them, and it's the only instrument I've never even been able to get a sound on. But there's like Persian nays and Iranian nays and Turkish nays, and they're all a little different. And and Egyptian nays. I mean, and so I would get a complete set of everything there was, and like all these, you know, stuff like Middle East instruments and the Chinese provinces, and like, I mean, I have these. I would just got everything I could and the best possible instruments that I could find. I went to. And there's a guy in New York that's kind of like that, and he helped me get like some Terragatos that I didn't have. It's hard to get the larger size of Terragatos.
Oh, it's been hard for me to find Terragatos too.
Yeah, you never know. A Terragato is like a wooden soprano sax, more or less.
Of all those,
their own kind of.
I'll be right back.
Of all of those instruments that you have, do you have one of them out and available, maybe to do a song or so?
No.
Maybe a saxophone.
Hold on, I need to ask you if you know what this is.
Yes.
Peace pipe.
No, I've had it for a long time, and I don't know what the first thing about what I'm supposed to do with it.
Yeah, it's
making that sound.
It's from Thailand. It's called a harmonica. They just call them harmonicas. And
really?
It's a Thai harmonica. That one has a gourd on it. It's they make a Chinese one that's actually wood without a gourd too.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's where I got it. So.
Yeah.
All right. Very so cool. You want to play a song?
You want me to play a song?
Please.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Right on, man.
Great.
There you
So-
go. I didn't play the head out. I figured you already heard it.
And actually,
What
That
here
was a
again,
4.
I think we have it queued up from you and me playing that at Steamers for later too.
Okay, good. There you go. I know I used to play it with you. That's why I picked that tune.
Hey,
I was
you're
going to do Sloogle Oogle Boogle Boy, but I can't quite remember it. In fact, I was going to text you and ask you for a lead sheet.
oh, that's funny. Yeah, Doug played a couple tunes on a record I did. It's been 10 years now, but a couple of big band tracks that we did.
Yeah.
And in fact, Terrence, you'll appreciate this, but during that session, and Doug, I should have thought to print this out, but we were talking about blues changes, and I was asking you about some of the chord substitutions that I heard you doing as you were soloing, and then you just started talking about all these different chord alterations you go through, and I ended up writing it all down, and later it took up like 3 pages full of notes just from you talking, just from you
Really?
telling. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
Cool.
Great.
That-
Tell us about your new album.
yeah, it just came
the
out.
new one is actually I recorded it in 2018, just on a day when Brian Charette, a good friend of mine, B3 organ player from New York, was here, and we had some off time, and then we got a call from a singer to go in and do a record. And I said, hey man, maybe this guy will pay enough that we can. I'll book the studio a little longer. We'll just record some trio stuff. And we've been playing with a drummer friend of his, Andy Sinisi. So we just recorded, and happened to call Mark Free, and they'd never recorded anything in L.A. There's kind of a New York label, but I just said, hey, I'm here with. But he knew both Mark and Andy from New York, and of course I would go to New York and record the other records I've done for Positone. Well, I just said, hey man, we're going to record. You want it? And he goes, yeah. So he showed up, and we recorded it. And then he was going to, and I go, let me pay the engineer, because if you pay the engineer, then he'll charge you more. So I paid it. So I kind of owned it, and he hadn't paid anything yet for it. So I kind of just let it sit there, and I didn't think it was that good. And then I had some other record that was going to release. And finally I listened to it again. I said, man, this isn't that bad. And I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I never like anything I do until a few years later. I can look at it a little differently. If it's right after you record it, you're so critical of everything you're doing, because you realize, you remember what you were thinking, and you kind of hear everything that you went for that you didn't get, and if it's in the past, you think, well, it's a moment of your life, and so somehow you can kind of enjoy that moment. And now listening to that record, I really kind of like it, and I especially like this little head I wrote on Indiana, where I wrote a tune. I called it for Steve, because my dad's from Indiana. My dad's name is Steve, and It's funny. Some critic already put it wrote that I had written it for Steve Grossman without asking me or anything. Who just passed away, and made it like an homage about how I'm very similar to Steve.
That's fun.
God, I mean, isn't it funny how critics just think they know things that have nothing to do with anything? Like it's. I remember reading a book where it said Train wrote Wise One for Naima, and Art Davis told me that he wrote it for Dolphy when Dolphy died. So, I mean, I think Art would know. He was playing with Train back then. It's just so funny. Like, people, I don't know, they hear things and they don't really check on their sources, I think.
I'm just going to put this out there that someday, and I've said this a lot over the years to other people, but never to you, but someday it's my dream to produce an album that features you and Ron Stout together. I just want to hear.
You have told me that, and I'm waiting.
I've told you that
phone pretty much every day for since you said it 5 years ago.
I want to make that happen. Two of my favorite.
If I'm not home, I make sure I have somebody answering my phone in case you call.
We were going to do it a couple weeks ago, but you were in Mexico.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here now.
Matter of fact, he called, but nobody picked up.
I had to have Terrence play the sax parts.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Would you play another?
I'm the guy that had that old alto. I took it and brought it back.
You don't want me to play anymore.
I do. Play another tune.
Okay.
By the way, what's the name of your Christmas album? That's an album I love every year.
It's
so people can find it.
Home for Christmas.
Home for Christmas. Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
And there's 4 of the cuts were orchestrated,
right,
and recorded with like 24 string players, and it's
gorgeous.
And the rest of it was just a quartet, kind of to fill the rest of the stuff. We were going to do more orchestra dates, and then it just got too expensive.
Right.
But it was really great to work. Man, it's hard to get string players to play in tune. You had to yell at them. And these are guys that played in the LA Phil, and they're just not used to playing hard stuff. I mean, they really aren't. I mean, it's like when you're listening to them and there's a studio, you go, you're flat, you're sharp, you're flat, you're flat, you're flat. Okay, one more time. That blows 4 bars. Okay, can't you hear that? It's like it's funny, and these are good string players. I guess the more out of tune they are, the more lush the string sounds, especially for TV. Anyway, it was really frustrating. It was really hard work. And if I never do another thing with a full string section, it's okay. Because it was just a lot of work.
Okay, so everybody scratch that. Don't get that record.
That's right.
Beautiful, man.
Thanks.
Doug, we have to go.
Intonation problems
That's it?
there. Yeah, why don't you? I think we're going out with what, Tony?
It's another little thing from us at Steamers. It's just made sense that I've got you and Terrence and me all here.
Great.
But thanks for being with us.
And Doug.
Good to see
Yes,
you.
sir.
We got to bring you, Ron, to Steamers. How's that?
Or me and Tony. I mean, while
Tony,
I got
yeah.
here.
Not if we can get Ron.
It's different. You know, I mean, I like Tony as well as I like any trumpet player I ever played with. He's got a sense of, it's like playing with something like a Chet Baker. I mean, he just plays prettier than other guys.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
Yes.
I mean, Ron is one of the finest musicians. I mean, he might be the best jazz player in Los Angeles on any instrument.
That's
he's
how
so advanced and he's so great. But you know, but somehow playing with Tony is always really enjoyable for me. And he's
really nice.
he plays the same thing everybody else
Yeah,
plays, only it sounds prettier.
That's
You know, but the
really
thing about Ron is so loud and
Hey,
obnoxious,
Terrence,
though,
Terrence, we're talking.
You know, he's a sweetheart.
Let's not interrupt.
I know
We're
he is.
talking about me.
Yeah. That's Ron is one of the
Ron
finest
is
musicians I know, and it's
such a lovely.
you know what? It's not a
human being.
competition. It's kind of a love thing.
No,
and
no.
Ron loves Tony, and as much as Tony respects Ron has a great admiration for Tony. I know that.
That's very nice.
Okay, wait.
All right,
I'm
my
looking
friend.
for Facebook.
All right. We'll talk to you
Facebook.
soon, Doug.
Wait. Okay,
We'll
Tony.
talk to-
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Look at that.
It's not a competition. It's kind of a love thing.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, there we
All
go.
right, man. We'll
Okay,
talk
I'm
to you
just like
soon,
that.
Doug.
Back now,
Thank
probably.
you.
Okay, well,
Love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap.
are, man. SAL LOZANO, Tony, you know, I tell you, I had the great pleasure of having him play at Steamers so many times, and he was also a great supporter of all the greats that walk through the doors at Steamers, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. But, you know, if you're not familiar with him, you should be. You know, the guy played, you know, he was on with some of the greats, Johnny Mandel, Tom Kubis. You know, he's with Gordon Goodwin's band, and I think he recorded with McCartney and Natalie Cole, Barbara Streisand, Bublé, Keely Smith, Maynard Ferguson, and
And these are all performing artists you're talking about?
Okay. Well, they perform at the local Goodwill,
Got it.
and Joey DeFrancesco, but and he's played with Sinatra. I think I don't know. He can tell me if I'm wrong. I do believe that he was on the Dancing with the Stars band too, and with Stevie Wonder and Jennifer Lopez and Celine Dion and just everybody. He's the first-rate alto caller guy that they call, and it's been a pleasure. He's such a wonderful guy. So let's welcome to our show.
And I'm sure tonight will be a good boost to his career.
That's right.
Nice that we can help out.
We'll put that last notch on his belt to stardom, and let's hear for Sal Lozano.
Wow!
Hey, Sal.
Welcome, Sal.
This has been a pleasure just to hear this. I can go home now.
Well, we read it just
there
like
you go.
you wrote it, Sal.
God, it almost seems like you're home, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Look at
that.
How are you, Sal?
I'm doing great. All things considered, you know how it is.
Yeah, I mean, we often start these conversations just talking about the pandemic, and I know how it affected you because it affected all of us kind of the same. We just lost a lot of work, but how are you coping and handling and using the time?
Well, to a virtual Zoom dance studio within 10 days. And so that was a pretty good inspiration for me to get my act together. I turned this office here into a, recording studio, if you will. And I bought all this great equipment, and I just put the word out to people that I'm, that I want to do some stuff like that. And our good friend Tom Kubis just sent me a ton of tracks to record to, and I just started playing just to get myself familiar with it. And I'm teaching saxophone at Long Beach State, so I had to do that with the students, go through Zoom lessons and just kind of get this. In fact, it's almost like another career here, trying to, because we can't do anything. In this time since March 17th, which was my last live performance.
Right.
I've been in one recording studio one time with 4 guys in a big room. Well, United Audio, Tony.
Right.
I was in there with 4 guys, 12 feet apart. And that's the only time that we've, and that was simply amazing, because the minute we played together, 4 guys hadn't played since March. We freaked out. It was just so electric, because I'm trying to make the most of it. Trying to just, day by day by day, just trying to,
right.
It's great. It's fine. I got a lot of practicing done. There's work coming in with recording here at home, so that's okay.
Right. Yeah, that started to pick up, and I was trying to figure out why, and I realized so many artists are basically home going, well, I guess I'm going to work on my project now. So all the recording work is trickling back in where the live work can't be,
That's true.
So that's good, because I've got that too, where there's like just a lot of little projects going on where people are finally doing the project they always wanted to do, and so it's good. Yeah. There's been some nice creative stuff happening during this. It's sort of forced creativity that's happened, which
true.
We can't knock that.
True. Yeah, reinventing. That's been the common theme of the people. They're reinventing, or they're all these things that they thought about. Well, if I could only do this at some time, if I could only do that.
Right.
I remember when at Steamers, I recorded all these 9,000 concerts, and I remember being there every day going, God, I hope one day I break my leg, so I'm laid up at home for 6 weeks, and all I can do is watch all these videos and do all this stuff in categories, and all that never happened.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, that's right, Tony.
Can you?
We got friends.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, I am Italian and Mexican, so.
Oh my.
Are you Italian also, Sal?
Yeah.
Nice.
Spanish, Italian, and Mexican.
Right.
Lozano, man. Yeah. Lozano.
Well, I know Lozano, but
Don Rickles said, I feel sorry for your father. That's what he said.
So you got some new projects you're working on? Anything recorded yet, or something coming up when this opens up? Or
I have this band that I have called All In. We have been together since about 2017, playing in clubs in LA. and we recorded in October of last year. We recorded 4 songs, and so now I'm putting them out one at a time.
Nice.
And getting all that together to put them out. As far as that creative element of my, from my end, I do a couple of cartoons, which pay the bills. Play music for a Disney cartoon and for a Warner Brothers cartoon, Animaniacs, which is being redone.
Oh, nice.
And so that keeps that kind of keeps the bills paid a little bit. And then just occasional things that people want me to play for them, little flute solo here, a little whatever there,
Yeah. By the way, Terrence, I don't know if you noticed, but Sal was on the Jumpin' at Jax video we did early on in the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the guys.
Well, Tony, I remember that today, thinking about this get together with you guys. That was so long ago.
Right, wasn't it?
It was ridiculous. I'm thinking about it. And I went back and I watched it and I'm like, God, that was so much fun. But
yeah.
I could barely, it was so long ago. I guess maybe that's another thing about this pandemic is time's going by very slowly.
Right.
Exactly.
Terrence, you had mentioned knowing Sal for a long time. I actually met Sal when I was a student in college. He came in and I can't remember the exact situation, but I don't know if you came in as a guest artist or as a guest. I think you were just giving like a guest clinic kind of thing at State Fullerton. This is State Fullerton, and at the time, I think Brian Betker was the director, and Sal came in, and everybody was very excited about Sal Lozano was coming to visit us, and I seem to remember that he was not at all impressed with our little band. But all that to say, I've known that goes back to the mid to late 80s for me. So I've known of Sal for many years, even before I met him that day. But I've just been very privileged to call him a friend over these several years. I don't know what he calls me, but
yes.
But I've been able to use Sal on a lot of sessions, and we've done some live gigs, and we may have even played Steamers together. In fact,
yes.
Probably.
Yeah, we did.
I ran the band at Cal State Fullerton for 2 semesters.
Did you? When was that?
After Alan Carter left. So Brian Betker and then Alan Carter, then I
right.
did.
Oh, okay.
Semesters, and they wouldn't let me. The head of music wouldn't let me put a pickup on an acoustic bass because it would ruin the bass. Your jazz program consisted of one band.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. I ended up there sort of as a fluke. It was not, the school to go to for jazz at the time. And there was one band when I was there as well. Yeah. And I didn't fit in very well there.
Yeah. And it wasn't until they turned it around afterwards when they realized, hey, you know what? We're losing students to Northridge and Long Beach because they've got programs,
Right.
Yeah, there's some great people there now, that's for sure.
Really great people there now. Yeah.
Hey, so is there any way we could get you to play a song or two, man?
Me?
You.
Me?
You.
Let's see. Tony or Terrence, correct me if I'm wrong. This tune is it's called "Things Ain't What They Used to Be." Is that Duke Ellington or Billy Strayhorn?
Oh, as far as who wrote it,
I think Strayhorn wrote it, but okay. I may not be right. Tony may know that.
If only we had a device that could help us find that.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah. My God. best I can do. True. I love playing. And in fact, that's what the last thing I did was Animaniacs. That's what I was playing was clarinet. That's the last thing, and it was terribly difficult. But I love playing the clarinet. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's see.
Oh man,
Beautiful, man.
fantastic,
Oh,
fantastic.
All right.
Okay, well, listen, man, what a pleasure to have you here, and we're gonna they can go to your website to get any stuff that you have.
Yeah,
You want to let us know where that project's available?
Yeah, it's all available. SALLOZANO.com. You can find it there, and it'll link you to Bandcamp or wherever you want to find it. Or
Beautiful.
contact me and I'll get it to you. Whatever. But I really appreciate you guys having me here. It's really good.
Oh man,
Great to see both of you again. Really.
We love you, man.
You too.
Thanks, Sal.
Thanks for being here.
All right.
Stay safe, buddy.
All right, you got it. Thanks.
Saxophonist Grace Kelly has been making a name for herself since before she was a teenager. Her first album, Dreaming, was released when she was just 12 years old, and since then she's been earning fans worldwide and accolades including being named 3 times as Jazz Artist of the Year by the Boston Music Awards, numerous ASCAP Young Composer Awards, Alto Saxophonist of the Year by the 2016 New York City Jazz Fans Decision Award, and Downbeat's 2016 Rising Star Critics Poll. She's performed around the globe, including venues like the Kennedy Center, with artists like Dee Dee Bridgewater, Terry Lynn Carrington, Esperanza Spalding, Phil Woods, Wynton Marsalis, and the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Grace is not only at home in the smooth jazz world, but she keeps great company in the straight-ahead jazz market, having collaborated on albums with legends like Lee Konitz and Phil Woods. She is also active in film and TV and is a regular feature with Jon Batiste on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Please welcome Grace Kelly to Steamers Jazz at JAX.
Hey, Tony, what's up, man?
Hey, Terrence, look who's with us.
I know, Grace Kelly. Wow, what a pleasure. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Grace.
Nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you too.
Good to see you again. Where are you visiting us from right now?
I am residing at home in New York City, and yeah, home. It's been the most amount of time I've been home these last months.
Right.
Enjoying, sleeping in my same bed every night. But yeah.
Now you haven't been in New York City the whole time, right? That I've known you.
I think when we first met, I was living in LA. I want to almost say it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I got a call to join Jon Batiste in the house band for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. It was only supposed to be a 2-week stint, and it ended up being half the year of their first year. And at that point, it was just like, well, this feels like my creative home. And I was like, good. All right, I'm going to be here for now.
Yeah, that's so great. First time I tuned in and happened to, I didn't know you had gotten that gig, and just to see you on there, I was like, that's Grace. Look at her doing that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool.
So
cool.
Congrats on that. It was awesome.
It was so fun.
Grace, whenever your name comes up, I tell people that I met you first at the KSBR birthday bash, and which is kind of known as, it was, the music wasn't limited to this, but it was mostly a lot of the smooth jazz artists, and you've certainly had a home in that world. But whenever your name comes up, I always tell people that musically you stretch way beyond that, and you're one of the few people that does that scene, but is also well respected and making a mark in the straight ahead scene as well. Yeah. Tell me what's going on. I know more about what's going on with you in the smooth jazz world, but what are you doing in the straight ahead world?
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, nobody's doing anything right now, but I mean.
Yeah. I mean, my background was learning jazz tradition, bebop, to study, and my mentors, Phil Woods, Lee Konitz, Frank Morgan, that taught me more when we were on stage together and with our sounds intertwined than I ever could have imagined in a whole education.
Did you say Phil Woods?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Phil Woods. We not only made a record together called "Man with the Hat" with Monty Alexander on piano and an all-star cast, but he toured with me and my band. We played the Montreal Jazz Fest, Newport Jazz Festival. We were in Germany eating schnitzel together, him telling me stories about Charlie Parker and Blueberry Pie and loaning his sax, Charlie Parker. And I'm forever so grateful for those incredible moments.
Phil Woods has always kind of been like a hero to me. I was an alto player primarily, and I think when I heard Monk at Town Hall, Little Rudy Tootie, Phil Woods' solo on that was like I said, that can't be a saxophone. It was like the most incredible thing I ever heard. And I just fell in love with him, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. Yeah, and some of the moments that we made music together too, it's like I remember when we were making that record, actually, the record with Phil, he would do what the Ripley Conan, one of the greatest improvisers in my opinion, the saxophone of all time.
Now you also mentioned Frank Morgan. Did you get to play with Frank?
Frank was like my musical grandpa. I knew
he was.
Yeah, actually, George Cables is the one who initially introduced us, and in the last 2 years of his life, we really got to know each other. And he actually brought me to play at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee. I played 10 nights with him at the Jazz Standard. It was
cool.
so wild, and we used to call each other and talk every single day. And it was like this connection, not only this musical connection, but this like heart-to-heart connection. And at some point, he was just Grandpa Frank. And I don't know, I get goosebumps when I think about it because I learned so much from him. And I'm actually there's an incredible documentary about Frank called Sound of Redemption.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Ron Carter, Delfeo Marcellus, Mark Gross. We paid tribute to Frank in San Quentin prison.
Wow. Well, for those who don't know, because Phil Woods and I knew about your relationship.
Took the producers 2 years to get permission for us to even do that concert in San Quentin, but they put it on. And
what a gift! What a gift!
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you got going on creatively now, or coming up for the future? What is your with all this being quarantined and all that stuff? There must be something ready.
Oh yeah, it's been a very interesting time because since quarantine, all my gigs either got canceled or rescheduled to who knows when, hopefully sooner than later. But from a business point of view, kind of made a pivot to being able to jump into one of my other big passions, which is education. And I started to hold online Zoom workshops.
Oh, cool.
And have now taught over 500 students, kind of doing this performance style education workshops where we have students all around the world, like Japan, Germany. We do a 2-hour-long curriculum where we'll dive deep into saxophone techniques and growling and bends. And it's a really great way to be able to teach a larger amount of people and also have them all be able to attend because it's much more reasonable than, private lesson stuff. So that's been happening on that front, which is a new expanded territory that I didn't get to get as heavily into when I was constantly touring. So I've been loving that. And virtual concerts have been happening. I've been doing regular live streams with my fans, done different virtual concerts on different platforms, along with partnerships with performing arts centers that we were supposed to play at. I've performed my first Zoom wedding. I got a call from Japan, and that was so wild. There was like 125 people. I never thought that I would say in quarantine that I played a song to the bride and groom. It was super special.
Oh, that's great.
Zoom birthday, like big birthday parties.
Wow. Well, speaking of playing, Tony said that you may grace us with a wonderful song, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. And then, just as far as in the horizon, I'm working on the next creative in-studio record, video, all that with my band. My last one was called Go Time Brooklyn and Go Time LA, and they came out not only as CDs and streaming on all the platforms, but all of them are up on YouTube and have got millions of views and reached a lot of people, which is super cool. So we're, probably in the fall, we'll be kicking it to another project of that. And then I've also I'm working on an upcoming online course as well, which seems to be a good thing that in this temperature, I've actually been working on it for like half the year now. And it's been cool just developing a large chunk of curriculum that I'm pretty excited about for both sax and stage performance.
It sounds like you're not watching as much Netflix as the rest of us.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta catch them up on Netflix, yeah. But I mean, I'd love to play as we talk about Frank, I just loved his version of confirmation, and I don't know why that's just like popping in my head.
All right.
Thank you. Wow.
Thanks.
Awesome.
I think it might have been Frank Morgan's jazz standard. He did a bunch of live recordings there, but I just love when they go into, drums. And
Right.
every time I play that, I like to add in that part.
Well, now I know which record I'm going to be listening to when the show's over.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Do you mind a little nerdy question? Do you mind if I ask? I see you got your setup. I see the Harrison ligature. What else do we have?
Yes, it's actually the Van Doren A8 ligature.
Oh, it looks like a Harrison from here.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a Van Doren MO mouthpiece, and I have their Java green box, size 2.5. And this is I'm a Yamaha artist, so this is a beautiful Custom Z axe. It's actually Phil Woods played this Custom Z series, and this is the bronze lacquer, and they're beautiful, just beautiful. I had played my Mark VI for so long, still have it. It's my, it's in its case, and there were quite a few companies that had approached me about trying their axes, and nothing quite did it for me. But I remember when Phil Wood said, you really should try the Custom Z's, and he had a whole, hard time with his emphysema and breathing, and he's like, these horns are so consistent, they just really play beautifully, and he'd play it. And I remember talking to Jeff Coffin too, who was playing it too, and he's like, yeah, give him a try. And I was pretty astounded, and that's the only reason I would make the switch, because it was
wow. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love nerding out.
Tony's a trumpet player.
I tuned out for a minute there, you guys.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say before we let you go that when you first appeared on screen, that I remember the last time I saw you, I realized it'd been so long since I'd seen you that your hair was green last time. So I sent Tim a picture that he'll flash on screen right now of the last time you and I were together. But all right, so as we are sending you off on your way, we're going to close out with a performance of yours of a song called Trying to Figure It Out. And so I just wanted to ask if you want to maybe set up that tune a little bit before we go to the video.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a really special song to me because it really lifted my spirits when I wrote it. I was in a funk that day. I was just feeling off, kind of in that negative space. And I remember I was actually talking to my mom at the time, and I said, I really wish I did this differently. I could have done that. I wish I said that. If I only did that. And she said, well, Grace, you can't change that now. That door closed, but there is another door that's open. And you can't see it right now, but it's there. And honestly, her words were just so uplifting. And I felt this melody in my heart. And luckily there was a piano nearby. And it was like 30 minutes. I had the melody just out. And then I started writing down some of her words, some of her phrases, some things that were coming to mind. The song, I really think, just like wrote itself in an hour. And it's very special to me when I hear from audience members that they have, some people have told me they've had this song on repeat during difficult times in their lives or whatever is going on. But, you know, I think this is also a very timely one about trying to figure it out when there is so much that we all are trying to figure it out. So it definitely hits home, and thank you for featuring it.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. Again. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Stay safe.
Right. See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
I've met my heartache. Drink the bottle dry. My tears of sadness. Salt has stained my eyes. I've been let down some days and wanna try, but I stuck around, lost to the dreamers. It's all I've known, the ups and downs on this bumpy road. I'm trying for something the light will bring me home. We're all trying to figure it out. I will not let the blues break me. I will not let the blues take me. I've done my time, cried my woes. No sorries for the taking. One step and then another, and slowly we discover it may not be perfect, or the way we planned. We're only here for the time at hand. So keep your head high and do the best you can. We're all trying to figure it out. break me. I will not let the blues take me. I've done my time, cried my woes, no sorries for the taking. One step and then another, and slowly we discover it may not be perfect or the way we planned. We're only here for the time at hand. So keep your head high and do the best you can. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure